In Chatham, Massachusetts, new life for the historic Coast Guard boathouse. It was supposed to be demolished and a house built in its place. Now, that's not going to happen. Greg Wayland explains.
Out in Chatham in the cold blue Cape Cod light, they've been watching that big crane move into Stage Harbor and hover like some long-necked seabird over the little cedar-shingled boathouse at the water's edge. They've waited and watched, and on Thursday the workmen were moving about getting those big hooks into place. For soon that big bird of a crane will hoist that little boathouse like a clam and set it gently on the wide rusty barge to be carried away, at least for now. And builder and Strong Island resident Jay Cashman is supplying the men and gear and money.
I was approached by somebody in town. They had told me that there's an old Coast Guard station in Sage Harbor, which I had gone by a number of times, and it had to be torn down, but there was a lot of interest in the town to try to preserve it somehow.
Now this gabled and weather-beaten relic, once slated for demolition, is destined for storage and repair at Cashman's Quincy, Mass. shipyard, with hopes it will ultimately be transported home again to Chatham, where it stood since 1936. The harbor master says saving it would be a tribute to the Coast Guard.
And they would maintain all their boats in here. The last boat that was maintained here was a 36-foot motor lifeboat that the Coast Guard routinely used.
It'll cost thousands to move it, but Cashman knows that.
Everybody asked for volunteer, and everybody stepped back, and I was left standing.
Sort of like that boathouse, which will be replaced with a private home. Nonprofit groups say it isn't covered by the town demolition delay bylaw.
There are those who have said the old building is just not worth saving. But don't tell that to David Doherty.
Not a historical building per se, but I always consider it part of Chatham's modern maritime history. I'm hoping that perhaps the nonprofit Pleasant Bay Community Boating Association could have use of it for classes during the summertime when it rains. Potential other uses, a little maritime museum perhaps.
The boathouse means different things to different folks.
I knew it was a good spot to start a search for clams and scallops.
That's not a life-saving mission there, is it?
It was for me. I liked them both.
At high tide Friday, it'll be on its way. Greg Wayland, NECN.